Hello, everyone. Welcome to LexTalk, world's talk show presented by Click of a Creators. Today, we have Ms. Pragya Raut with us. Currently, she is working as head of legal and compliance in Samsung R&D department, India. Pragya is a first-generation legal professional from a family and takes pride in having paved her own path in the legal field. She's a firm believer in a lot of things. One is that I have in front of me is quoted: great things never come out of one's comfort zone. That is very well said. And she has over a decade, I would say more than a decade of experience as an in-house legal counsel for large MNCs in consumer and electronics, IT and ITES and finance and banking industries, and so on and so forth. So we actually have a lot to discuss about her. So without further ado, let's dive and let's welcome her for the session. So hi Pragya, how are you doing?
Hi, thank you so much for the kind introduction. I'm doing well, thank you. And I hope you're doing well as well.
Thank you very much, Pragya. I'm doing really wonderful, and thank you for being part of the session. I mean, it's a pleasure to have you. As I said earlier, I mean, I tried my level best to consider things or to, put things as much as I can in my words. But I would really appreciate if we can, understand or start this session by understanding your legal journey so far.
Okay. Thank you. And you've actually, mentioned it already that, I'm a first generation legal professional. And this question is actually a little personal to me. And why I say so, I'll let you know. Because as I had mentioned in my bio that I come from a family of doctors and engineers. And so while growing up and studying, law was not there as a choice for a career or even studying. I had some different plans. But one thing that I've seen in my life that nothing goes as what I plan or what I think of. So this law definitely was by chance, not by choice. And when I started studying when I went through my 5 years integrated law course and followed by a master's in business law from Symbiosis, that's when I really started developing my liking and curiosity in the subjects I was more interested. And I really thought of taking it as a full-time career and not think about any other career as a alternative or something. So I was very sure that I want to pursue law. And why maybe whether it was a good thing or bad thing, I don't know. I'm still figuring that answer out, but I never had a mentor or guide to actually tell or guide me in terms of how you need to navigate your career, or how you should start your career in this journey, because I did not have anybody from the legal background. So so that guidance 12-13 years back down, I think was missing. So I took things on my own, and whatever I have learned or whatever I have been so far, it's been on trials and errors and trying out things which I felt maybe was right at that particular stage of life. So with all of that as a background, I have like 12 years of experience in the as a technology lawyer. I started my career through a corporate law firm in Bangalore, and post that it has been in corporates. I've worked with major companies who are the leading pioneers in the domain of banking, ITES, consumer electronics, and I've been part of in-house legal teams. As a technology lawyer, my profile has been, it has comprised of various things, right from on contract management, if I have to say. It's been from like cradle to grave journey of a contract life cycle, right from the bid management stage to negotiations to contract conclusions, and thereafter also looking at the commercial contract management post the execution till the contract expires or it gets terminated. So that entire life cycle management I have had experience on. Then apart from that, it has I've had experience on dispute management, litigation management, procurement management, along with drafting and reviewing of various procurement agreements. One of the key areas is also advising key management personnel or the management, top line management, on the key strategic matters of not only from a legal standpoint, but also keeping the business interest in mind. Then there's also the regulatory and secretarial compliances as per the applicable laws to the industries that apply, and as a DPO, I'm currently also the DPO in Samsung. So also to address the privacy questions, looking into the privacy matters. And of late, I've also started looking into labor and employee matters as well. So this has been a recent addition in my profile. So I think, and also being a technology lawyer, there's also been a lot of exposure and work around copyrights, patents, intellectual property, software licensing agreements. So yeah, in a nutshell, anything to do with technology law directly, indirectly, somehow, whether it's interconnected, yes, that has been part of my profile. And on the academic side, as I mentioned earlier, I've done my 5 years integrated course from Utkal University, a master's in business law from Symbiosis. I've done a 1-year executive management course from IIM Bangalore, and currently I'm also doing a labor law management course from XLRI. So this is all about me in a nutshell for my 12 years of career. And yes, the reason I'm also proud of my journeys, as you mentioned, that I always believe that great things come out of your comfort zone. So I've always, in my career choices, I have always gone to an industry or to a profile which I have not done earlier. So I have been with ITES as a service provider, for looking legalities from a service provider's perspective, then from a product company, like currently in Samsung, where we are dealing with a lot of technological advancements, innovation, and questions around that. I've been with a bank, I've been with a law firm. So I think for 12 years, there's been quite a flavor on my legal journey.
So your net really wide, and that's a lot about you, Pragya. Thank you very much. It sounds beautiful. If I can dwell down to your practice, or either I should say your cases, legal issue. So if you can tell us about a complex legal issue specifically, and I understand that every case for lawyers is a complex lawyer. That's what I learned from after having so many sessions with lawyers. But still, if you can sort of tell us about a complex legal issue you worked on recently and describe the complexity around it, and of course how you approach it as well.
Sure. So, as you said, most lawyers or in-house legal counsel would agree that being a lawyer and in-house counsel itself is complex, because, things are never straight. It's never a one-line answer. It's not a straight way. And especially in the area of technology law, where things are evolving, the industry is talking about innovation, and especially post-pandemic, we have seen how digitization has played a pivotal role in the business, and that has been a key driving factor for most of the businesses, and especially the ones who are in the area of technology, innovation, and these new cutting edge things which is coming out. So yes, definitely, as part of my my current role, it is always a little bit of challenging, because we are working in the areas of artificial intelligence or machine learning, or cloud computing, and anything basically which is innovation and technology, anything to innovate in the area of technology. So that brings us a lot of questions from all aspects. It could be, obviously, IPR is one of the major issues, because we need to ensure that, our IPRs, and most of these products, or, one of the key products is the bespoke softwares that is being developed. So you have to be very mindful about the IPR protections or IPR infringements. And at the same time, it is also about protecting the brand value, the brand image of the organization in whatever you're doing. So that's one area. And sometimes what happens, if you're trying to develop some app which could basically tell you about the, your medical health status, or, something which could predict something. So in that, it can have correlation to the medical laws, or, all those things. So you need to also make sure that those things are being catered to. And this is not very restricted to pan India. It's global, because you are working on a global platform, and they are cross border. So that's why you also have to look at the international laws also that apply. But I think the key most challenging thing for me currently, what I am basically working on, is the data. Now, data among all of this is the most crucial thing, and data, as we know, is called as the new gold. And with digitization and emerging technological trends and innovation, data plays a very vital role. So when you are managing and addressing so much of data, then definitely you need to also ensure the protection and how you're handling the data, right from collecting to processing to retaining it. How are you processing it, or how are you collecting, why you're collecting it, how do you ensure the data security, how do you kind of, how do you design your security architecture. So we call it as TOM, technology and organizational security measures. So it's not only about the legality or the compliance part of it, but it is also about the implementation and the operational part, which needs to be built up, adhering to these security measures and these kind of things. And it's and in India we do not have our own data protection act as of now, and the bill has also been reversed recently. It's been taken back. So till the time we get any new law, and whatever we have with the existing law, so you need to have a robust system in managing and handling that kind of a data, and especially data retention and data deletion plays a very vital role in terms of how would you do that. Because see, for example, the law says that you have to delete the data once your purpose is met, or once you no longer require it. But in a age where you are looking at expanding your business and you have certain customer data, you'd want to have it for a longer period, because that data could give you some kind of analytics, some kind of information which could be useful to you maybe down the line. So how do you manage that? And also, when this is global, it's cross border transfer, it's cross border transactions. So in this, you also have to look at the international data privacy laws, and there are some very robust and effective stringent laws. Like one of the Bible of data privacy law, we say, is the GDPR for the European Union, and then you have UK Data Privacy Act, or whether it is CCPA or HIPAA, or even other data privacy laws that you have. So to have a nexus dichotomy among all of this, and to have your system built up not only to protect the current times, but also to be ready for future, like the data readiness for the future. And it is also not to be compliant, but also to be ready for any kind of an audit which is required. So I think this is one of the very challenging areas currently that we are looking at, along with the other things. And how do I approach it? I take a very traditional style of approach, because for me, obviously, we have to fall back on what the law says, what the law requires. That's one part of it. Then we also try to see, not every time the law will have answers to every specific questions or to the peculiar questions. There could be certain gray areas, and especially in, like, suppose like, India, a third country where you don't have data privacy laws, it's not that stringent. Not, it is stringent, but it's just that awareness and sensitization is not very strong. But as compared to the global privacy laws, so how do you do that and all? So at times when I don't try to find, I don't get easy answers, then I just think that law is nothing but pure logic. So just apply logic and try to do what you're meant to do, what the intent of the law was or is, and how you protect it, keeping the business interest and the business viability also in line. And in all of this, I think sensitizing the stakeholders who are actually handling the data is very important, because sometimes I have heard some of the stakeholders who say that, oh, we have anything on data protection? I thought we didn't have anything on data protection. Or why data protection is even that important? So you have to actually kind of sensitize them and tell them and try to explain them. It was a challenge at the initial bend, but then slowly they have stakeholders do realize, and they kind of take it seriously. It could be as simple as that, you need to take consent when you're collecting a personal data. It's very important, because if that's not there, the whole legal basis for data collection or processing could be defeated. And in these, the penal consequences are definitely high, but more than that, the brand image tarnish, or that thing that comes out if there is a data breach or a security incident that happens. So these are the kind of things that currently we are looking at, and this is one of the areas definitely that I find it very challenging and interesting at both the same time.
I mean, brilliant, brilliant. And I recently had a session with a gentleman, and he was also mentioning about now in-house counselors are not just a part of the back end team that just look into the legal issues and the compliance of an organization, working with HR, doing all those things. They're also part of direct or indirectly, creating their own value in terms of revenue generating, again, as I said, directly or indirectly. So my next question is towards this only. How in-house counsels really add value to the organization? So that's a very broad,
Yeah.
question that I have. But if I have to narrow this down, I want to understand this from a revenue generating standpoint.
So, this thing we have heard a lot, in my 12 years of journey, I have always heard this, like, yeah, what is legal? They are just there to say what you can do, what you cannot do. They just talk black and white. And in fact, there was always this they always looked at legal, at least in my experience, what I have faced, I'm telling you, that they used to always tell that, legal is a bottleneck. They don't understand dollars. They don't understand what we are trying to achieve. They're just there to say, yes, you do it. Yes, no, you cannot do it. And that was actually the reason why I went for an executive management course. I really wanted to understand, what does business mean? What, when they say dollar value, what is exactly that? And I feel that it is and this is also from my experience that I have learned, and it has actually helped me. Yes, it could be a situation that in a couple of years or decades earlier, that was the function of a legal to say yes or no, whether you can do it or not do it. But now with the changing times, the way the businesses are changing, legal is not only confined to saying yes or no, but they have to give solutions how the business can fix it. Like if there is a non-compliant, if there is a legal risk or a compliance risk, or something like that, then you will have to come up with a solution in terms of how do you mitigate the risk or how do you reduce the risk. That is where the contribution of a legal counsel comes into place, rather than just simply saying that you cannot do it. I think the approach nowadays is that how can we do it, and that is where, when you are helping the business, when you're enabling and getting them to do that, I think there is a contribution which goes directly. If you ask, if someone asks me this question, you're not a revenue generating team anyways, you are like, oh, overhead cost to the company. So I just say that, if you think compliance or legal is overhead cost, try doing non-compliance, and then you will understand what the value is. Because I told you, like if you get one infringement claim against you, an IPR infringement claim against you, the consequences could be huge. Forget about, let alone the legal cost in defending that claim, plus the brand image that gets tarnished. So, these are something which cannot be easily computed in monetary terms. So I would say the role of a legal counsel these days is to also look at the business side, to understand what the business is, to understand what they are trying to achieve, and to help them achieve in a legally compliant way. So I think that is where the contribution is there from the legal side. And that is why the image of legal is changing, and they are being taken as seriously as any other business stakeholders, at least because I see in my roles and responsibilities, everything under the sun, they could come and ask you, as like, hey, Pragya, we are doing this. Is it okay or is it not okay? Or we want to do this, and how do we do it? What are the areas that we need to check? So earlier, when they used to come at the end, like everything is done, and then they put it on you saying that, okay, just do the paperwork. Now the involvement starts from the time the idea is on the table, where the business guys are working. I have had been sitting in sessions in my current organization where I was asked to just experience the product from an user's perspective, and then come up with solution in terms of where things could go wrong and how they should be protecting and how to address those things. So, these kind of involvement I've had the opportunity to be part of in my current role. So I think, yes, legal do help in, at least maybe not directly generating revenue, but definitely helping in not losing out money on penalties and on any non-compliances and all. So that way, if you have to calculate, then yes, you can add a dollar value to the value that dollar value to advice that we give. But then some may also argue that we have law firms on retainer basis who can do the same thing. But law firm is also very important important for corporates and for in-house legal counsels, because sometimes you need the subject matter expertise for certain areas, for the domain expert if there is a new regulation announced by the government, or to understand certain implications if we wouldn't have in-house the expertise. But then in-house legal counsel always has the benefit of having a complete overview and information and knowledge about the organization, about how it is being run, about the nitty-gritties of it, which not all times you can pass that information to a law firm, or even if you pass, it may not be, to step into exactly our shoes and understand how the functioning is. There, I think in-house legal counsel do have a little bit of more added advantage to help the business to understand, interpret, and apply that for their initiatives or for their business requirements.
That's very right. I mean, it's important to understand the outcome of the
Yes.
implications that will happen, and that might happen, or that can be done
Yeah.
around the compliance of an organization. So that is very beautifully put, Pragya. Thank you very much, and I'm happy that I have such questions to ask you. I have two questions, but I guess we are also running out of time. And I understand you're a really busy lawyer, but I'll just try to club those questions. So my first question was, it's I guess it's somewhat related to both of them will relate somewhere. Time is money for everyone, and in legal industry it's most of all. So
Yes.
there are so many things that one has to do, whether it's an independent advocate or a law firm, or in-house counsel like yourself. How do you ensure that you get maximum of your time? Also, do you use any legal technology tools, now in the era of technology, where legal technology is also booming. In fact, in our side of the world, in Asia, now it's coming in. So do you use something to save your time and to do things in a more transformational way?
Sure. So, yes, time is money, definitely. And we are always under a pressure to turn out, to come up with the answers and solutions in a very quick time, because the business needs the answer. So first, the foremost thing, how I maximize my time is, whenever I join any organization, I spend my first, 30, 60 days, that you have 30, 60, 90 days plan. In that, my focus is to understand the business. What is the crux of the organization? Where is, that the heart and mind of the organization? What is the main thing, and what are they trying to achieve? Like, to understand, and because that is very important. If you don't know your business, you don't know what the outcome they are looking at or what they are trying to do, it becomes very difficult to look at solutions, because there will be legal problems. And for most of those problems in the tech side, you do not have straight answers, because legal jurisprudence is also evolving with the change in technology. You will not have straight answers in terms of what are the legalities when you're looking into blockchain or machine learning or AI, or, blockchains or smart contracts and all that. You have to apply principles, and you have to look at a multitude of things. So for me, that's the approach that I take. Understand the business, try to know what's the outcome, what's in it for the business that they are looking at, and how I can, how can I give value. If I have the information with me, yes, I will work around that. And if it's something where I need an external help because of the paucity of time or time constraint, then yes, we will take an external help, because that's what we do. We try to give the best as less in time, because yeah, as you said, time is money. And in this, I think the tools also quite help us. And I know that there are a lot of tools that are coming out in the market, which help and make your life in the legal world easy. There are tools for reviewing the documents, or, to extracting information for research purpose, or, managing end-to-end things. But at Samsung, we have our in-house tools. They are primarily for document management and for looking at the contract life cycle. But yes, nothing which replaces human intervention or application of the mind, where we have to actually do that. But yes, these tools do help us. And of course, we have Zoom, we have MS Teams when we have to interact with the external partners. So yes, so without technology, without technology, even the legal teams wouldn't be able to give the maximum product. So yes, we do use tools, but not to that great, not to a very large extent, to a very limited extent. Yeah.
This was really brilliant. I mean, Pragya, One last question. Now, this is the last
Yeah.
one. Where can our viewers really find you? Generally they tend to, because I understand that, as I said, lawyers are really busy and it's, we have a lot, very, very small window of discussion. And then there is so much to discuss in that five or four, 4 or 5 questions. Where can our viewers really find you to get a hold of you?
So actually, I'm not a very social media person. So actually, somebody who would want to find me on social media, they could find my profiles, but they couldn't be reaching to me because I seldom, I'm updated over there. But yes, LinkedIn is one of the forums where I'm very actively involved. And so yes, LinkedIn is one of the places where people can reach out to me. And obviously, I have my contact number. So whoever reaches out to me on LinkedIn, and based on the context, I do share my personal number, my email addresses, and then we kind of connect offline. So while I practice in the area of technology law, but when it comes to connection, I'm still a little old school where I feel that human interaction and direct connect is always good. So I prefer, I'm a more of a in-person, I'm a person who prefers to have in-person contacts rather than just being on electronic media. But yes, I am very active on LinkedIn, so people can reach out to me on LinkedIn.
I mean, to address this, I mean, yes, developing technology. I heard it in Friedman's podcast. I very recently that the more we are innovating, we are just mimicking what's in nature. What is AI? It's just mimicking our own self. So that's very beautifully put, Pragya. And for our viewers, now where to find her and get a hold and bombard her with your messages, but only on LinkedIn. Please do that, as she said. And thank you very much, Pragya, for sharing such great insights with us today. And we, of course, as I said, look forward to having chat with you again in the future on some other trending topics in the international legal industry. Thank you very much for the session today.
Thank you so much. I also enjoyed having this conversation with you, and I'll also look forward to many more such conversations and to explore many other areas on technology law. I'd be really interested on that.
This is all mine, Pragya, and we will definitely schedule one more session with you, provided that you are available. And we'll dwell down to the legal technology side of it specifically, because now we
Sure.
know your background and your approach on the generic sense. And for to acknowledge our viewers, if you like this video, I want you to actually like this video, to share this video, and to click on that red button and subscribe to Click Away Creators YouTube channel to appreciate what we do. And you have more coming in from legal industry leaders like Pragya Rawat. Thank you very much. This was Sagar for LexTalk World signing off.